Namaste, and welcome, Stoneshard fans. Gonna be counteracting some of those bad vibes, the chill vibes today. No more negativity, no more negative Steam reviews. Just kidding, it's me. You probably thought that was another character. There's only one character on this channel, it's me. Maybe two if we count Bill.
Jesus Christ, oh Lord, oh heavens.
Anyways, I got some thoughtful feedback to my negativity in Stoneshard video. I did negative, positive, so I guess I should be doing negative again. But to be honest, I'm feeling pretty positive. Just to reiterate for like the 5th, 6th, or 7th time, I don't hate Stoneshard, just not super interested in playing it. I really don't see the point until the update comes out. That's my short and simple. I understand if people are upset that back the early access and stuff, but I still think it's enough to be, you know, like a full game. Like if someone buys it now, they'll be like, oh, that was neat. Anyways, so why am I in such a good mood? Which that last insert didn't really shut up. Well, the updates have been good and plenty. I'm pretty late on this one, but the Caravan update part 4, which is the one I was most excited for, came out. And then we got the Denbrie and global map changes. A couple people were saying June, a couple people were saying July. I'm still sticking with August. If it's June or July, I take the L. If anything, I'm happy because then it's more content for my channel. It's a win-win-win. I win, you win, the devs win. The final devlog for Caravan upgrades. Caravan upgrades part 4, communication. We can get our communication degree. I think I've made that joke before. Interesting fact, Caravan upgrades are not abilities and therefore don't require ability points. That's for all the dumb motherfuckers out there. Instead, they're unlocked with items and materials. Its main focus is staying in touch with civilization. Let's take a closer look at what that entails. Communication. Caravan banner. A symbol of fellowship and hope. More like a symbol of a bunch of dopes. Requirements. Foldable flagpole. Adds a flagpole to the caravan camp that can be used to raise banners found in dungeons or while exploring the world. I like the white flag. That's a nice addition. So yeah, basically, there's going to be a new class of item you can find. Banners, which are little upgrades for your camp. You start off with the white flag, which is a little questionable. I don't think I'd want to be seen with that. I think I'd just leave it empty. No matter what, they're going to actually give a passive reputation gain buff, but they'll have other things such as pain resistance, or as in the example of the GIF that they posted, a bonus to fatigue resistance. Cool. I mean, genuinely, I find these cool. I hate to say it, but I'm a sucker for these little, I don't know, like tiny features. It just seems cool that you can customize your camp a little bit, or just purely go for buffs and power gaming. This also adds the ability for them to have like weird late game quests for like super rare, super powerful banners, or relics that are banners, or all sorts of stuff. Let's see if that ends up happening, but regardless, base features are cool to me. I'm gonna go with the owl. That's my favorite animal. That's my favorite animal, so I'm gonna take that one. Next up, messenger pigeons, with a very beautiful drawing of a pigeon, if I do say so myself. Messenger pigeons are trained to return home. I just want to say, the dev said there'd be no pets in Stoneshard, but it looks like a homing pigeon slipped through, so that's a W for us, dev haters. Requirements, cage with pigeon. It's a new item, cage with pigeon. How do we craft that? Allows you to take a carrier pigeon. While not in immediate danger, the pigeon can be released to send a message to Varen, which will open the caravan's travel menu, allowing it to move to a selected location. Okay, neat. So one thing I just want to point out, aside from the awesomeness of the pigeon, in the GIF for this, you basically go into this kind of unexplored territory, and it looks like you can even call it in the next aisle. My understanding is you can't call in the caravan in the fog of war, so I guess in this case the player is supposed to be like, oh, I guess I'll go explore, and once I've explored, I'll send my pigeon, right? But then, when the option pops up to move it, it says it will take 3 hours travel time, 6 hours setting up camp, and then the screen turns to like night. It goes from like twilight to night. So my next question is, does it actually take like 9 hours real time? Like, are you gonna be starving after you use this pigeon? And of course you can like store food in the camp and stuff like that, but that just seems like a little bit of a beginner's trap. So be warned for all you pigeon heads out there. You're probably gonna lose some of the buffs you have if you set up the caravan this way, willy-nilly. Let's move on. That was dumb, I'm sorry. Old favors. Varen has lots of acquaintances. Lots of sexy acquaintances. Requirements, pile of letter ink pot. Killing enemies near settlements improves your reputation there by 20% of the received experience. Increases the time limit for contracts by 1 day. Awesome. No complaints there. That's neat. Don't know what near means, but that's nitpicking. That's me being nitpicky. Web of contacts. The war made people's allegiances crystal clear. Good fame is much more valuable right now than gold. Grants 50% more reputation when completing contracts in settlements affected by negative situations. Grants 5% reputation gain for each settlement you've achieved respect with. The common cause reputation perk now works all the way up to amity instead of benevolence. This may not make sense, but they showed off in a GIF. I'm going to save that for later. Don't worry, just put a pin in that. Just to explain briefly, there's going to be a new mechanic where settlements can be fallen by calamities, negative situations. There could be something like a beer shortage or maybe a salt shortage, and you can sell commodities there for a profit. But now, with this upgrade, you will actually get reputation for doing so. It doesn't say anything about it like solving the situation situation, but I believe the contracts are how you solve these situations. So perhaps there could be something where they're like, oh no, there's an iron shortage and there's not going to be weapons in the settlement for a little while, which if that's affecting Bryn, might be something that bothers you. Local informant decreases the chance of being ambushed by 25%. No offense, I don't think that's interesting to anyone. Setting up the caravan camp reveals the locations of all points of interest within 5 miles. Reveals some of the ongoing settlement situation and dungeon modifiers, showing them in the global map hovers. That is one of the final upgrades for the communication tree. I don't know how hard or easy it's going to be to get these items. I don't think it should be a hard one to unlock because this is, you know, I'm not a game balance meister. I just feel like this one should be one of the earlier ones in the tree, not like one of the last ones, but maybe it's super powerful, who knows. Also just want to say really quickly, when it talks about dungeon modifiers, each dungeon will now have weird and wacky modifiers. The one they gave as an example is that the crypt can be fallen by miasma, a big stinky gas. So I covered that in my video going through a year's worth of updates. Each dungeon type will have its own complications, like the crypt might have miasma gas. It'll also show you the settlement situations that I was talking about earlier. Okay, here's my thing about the Stoneshard devs. I feel like the devs have this thing where they're like, oh, that's powerful. And it's like, no, it's neat. Like, I want that upgrade because it's neat, but I'm not a meta chaser, right? Like, I'm like a goofball. I like stuff that's fun. I don't worry about whether or not it's actually really good or efficient or anything. The fact that that upgrade is speaking to me is a little scary because that probably means it's not that good. That's just my history with video games, anecdotally. Not saying anything, okay? This is a comedy video. I specified that at the beginning, right? This is a comedy video. Anything I say, anything critical, any claims I make, they're all comedy. So if I say something and I'm wrong, comedy. Just keep that in the back of your head, okay? Let's keep going. Thank you. It's okay. Trade preferences. 10% trade favorability when buying or selling commodity goods. Commodity goods and settlements improve your reputation there by 5% of the received sum, 15% if a settlement is affected by a negative situation. This is just an interesting path to gaining reputation in a settlement. You'll be able to generate reputation without doing quests, which is interesting. You might be able to have a little bit of that merchant NPC lifestyle. This is going to sound really cynical, but I feel like stuff like this is, I feel like historically I've seen stuff like this get nerfed into the ground because I don't think devs like the idea of someone role-playing a merchant where they're not even fighting, they're just going around selling stuff and generating money in these types of games where combat is like a main feature. Maybe I'm projecting that a little bit. I'm thinking of Bannerlord. If you were guessing Bannerlord, that's the game I was thinking of. Even though you still can make money from caravans and like tool shops, they were like, no, we're gonna put an end to that. Well, that's enough complaining. I think it's still definitely my favorite tree. Overall, good stuff. I'm interested in this tree. I'm interested in the update. Just want to specify that, okay? Because I was Mr. Negativity. Now we're going to be Mr. Positivity, okay? Then we'll go back to negative. Don't worry. We still have time for that. Moving over, Devlog, Denbrie, and global map changes. This was May 9th. As of right now, it was the newest devlog. Hello everyone. Today's devlog is dedicated to changes to the global map and a new settlement of the Grand Magistrate, Denbrie. Let's tackle it one thing at a time. Denbrie is where we harvest salt. The list of planned settlements present in the current version of the game is no longer relevant. It will be updated in rags to riches. I have no clue what the hell that even means. I'm assuming that's from an older update, which I have a little log of them. I'll try and find it. It's gonna make this video take longer to make. You don't care. Do you care? Leave a comment if you care, okay? Denbrie is situated in the southwestern region of the Bryn March, the third and final village of the Grand Magistrate. Its few remaining inhabitants, a couple fishermen, and a merchant who was driven insane by the horrors of war, eke out a miserable, poverty-stricken existence. The only reason why Denbrie still exists is its salt-producing infrastructure, which is being slowly produced by workers from Breen. Why do they want salt? Why do they need salt? Is this salt for the food? Is this salt for the rich people? Is this salt to trade? If this salt's so important, why don't they send some fucking guys over? They have like immortal guards in Bryn. Some of the oh, they got some of the immortal guards from Bryn. It's an important strategic spot. The captain will want your help. Awesome. Sick. Denbrie also has outskirts, a couple locations where you'll be able to rest on your way to a dungeon, turn in a contract, or purchase necessary supplies like St. Wald's Bridge or Kenrick's Homestead. And if you look in Kenrick's Homestead, if you zoom in, you got this cutie pie, certified 10 out of 10 here with like Betty Boop eyes or some shit. Okay, let's get to the other part of this update. Map changes. One of the most important changes to the global map is that many locations were moved to a different spot, allowing for a smoother and more organic progression through the game's world. Additionally, the updated map will do a better job at highlighting the content that players right now have to either stumble upon randomly or learn about from external sources. Osbrook, for example, will be located in the eastern part of the map, a more suitable place for a settlement that was affected by the war. The least, finishing the village's introductory quest will instantly let you travel to Bryn, granting earlier access to the caravan. And once you complete Gwynel's answers, Varen will begin giving you hints that'll steer you journey towards Manshire, the Rotten Willow, and the truth of your hidden sexuality. and Denbrie. Manshire will remain almost the same. Is this to mess with English speakers? Did they formulate a sentence just to mess with like English speakers? Is this their revenge? Manshire will remain almost the same. The only notable difference is a set of additional rules for the nearby location's placement. The herbalist hut, for instance, will actually spawn close to the village. I didn't know the herbalist hut existed. Apparently that was a quest from the old preacher man in there. In contrast, the Rotten Willow Tavern will be affected the most. It'll be moved from its current spot, north of Manshire, to the western region of the map, not far from Osbrook's old location. Furthermore, the tavern will have its own contracts, a few nearby dungeons, some extra functionality, and 2 outskirts like the Oaken Glade, wood cutting outpost, and the charcoal burners camp where they burn charcoal. The reputation system, actually let's put a pin in that. So looking at the map, you can actually zoom in and see where all these locations will be. This will be a handy PNG to have when the new update comes out, I suppose. Obviously locations are seeded, but generally speaking they remain in the same like sectors of the map. What I'm confused about is the map does seem to be cut off so as not to reveal Denbrie, unless I'm misunderstanding how the map works. So if you look at Osbrook, you can see Osbrook, the farm very plainly, and then to the far right of the map, like literally on the edge of the map, I'm assuming that's the brewery. It kind of looks like the winery in Manshire, but I'm assuming that's not what it is, but I'm having trouble finding it. I'm assuming this is the brewery to the right here of Osbrook, but that means the little area to the south, I'm assuming, is an outskirts. Then you've got this long winding road with another outskirt or checkpoint or whatever, and Rotten Willow all the way over here. So yeah, I guess I see what they mean. So yeah, neat stuff. The idea that you can just skip Manshire is really weird to me. Not really sure exactly what they mean. I guess to progress the story, you'll go to Bryn, get the caravan, and like go back to Manshire or backtrack through the contract turn-in thing. Just kind of weird because I always feel like Manshire was supposed to be the level 2 town. So next, reputation system changes. So this is one that I'm kind of struggling with because the GIF they have is sort of weird. So obviously these could be placeholders. Okay, it's your boy. I'm paradropping in some negativity. I was reviewing what I had recorded for this. I really need to start writing my points down so I make sense. The exact quote is,
in the current version of the game, each settlement uses the same reputation perks. In Rags to Riches, they will differ depending on each city or village's specific features, allowing for more flexibility when balancing the economy and gear progression. And if the need arises, it'll let us add even more unique perks in the future. For example, even though there are almost no merchants in Denbrie, the settlement's unique perk, Magistrate's Frontier, will reward you with additional Bryn reputation upon completing its contract.
So basically, instead of getting like 10% more reputation to Bryn, you get like 50% more, which is obviously a difference. But even then, when they state there are almost no merchants, you still have like the favorable prices perk. You just don't have the wide selection perk. Every settlement that is displayed, including the Rotten Willow Tavern, have a perk that gives reputation to Bryn. So this is a weird situation where they're talking about it like, oh, now we all have the same perks, but in the next update, we'll have the same perks, but different values per settlement. If they phrased it in a way that insinuated that, I guess I wouldn't have a problem. My issue is that when they say, oh, now they have unique perks, giving something a unique icon and name does not make it a unique perk. This is like saying, this gun is blue, this gun is red, so now we have unique guns in our FPS game. It's a unique experience. It's a reskin. Reskins are fine. Just don't phrase it like it's some sort of groundbreaking thing. If I could go into the XML of a game's files and make this perk myself, it's not unique. Or at least, it's not unique enough to warrant any sort of hoopla. It's cool saying, hey, now there's going to be variety. That's cool. Don't phrase it like it's some sort of weird thing like every town is now special and unique and has different stuff. Don't use the phrasing, they will differ depending on each city or village's specific features, because that seems like, I don't want to say lying, but that's not what people think. When people think that, they think, oh, when I go to the charcoal burning settlement, there'll be charcoal wizardry or something like that. They don't think it's going to be 15% reputation to Bryn or versus 10%. That doesn't make any sense. Am I crazy? Am I going crazy? Anyways, that's the end of this cut-in. Back to the positivity, boys. Back to positive vibes and happy time. This reputation system demonstration here, there seems to be a few different perks, but basically what they all boil down to is giving some of the reputation from contracts to Bryn. The reason for this is that they state below, Bryn is losing all of its contracts. All of them. Now, the contracts will be split between the Rotten Willow Tavern and Denbrie. Those will be the high-level contracts. I guess Manshire will be like the tier 2 or something, and Osbrook will be the baby ones. That's fine, but the way the reputation system system is described, it makes it sound like each area will have like a unique passive, like just let's say hypothetically speaking, if you could do reputation with the Oaken Barrel Brewery, like they would like give you beer in your chest, I don't know, or give you a barrel of beer every month or something like that, right? But in this demonstration, pretty much all of them boil down to giving the reputation from your contracts to Bryn, which I think the devs are intending for you to really want, because that's where you're going to buy all your gear, so you want to get that up so you can have the highest variety of gear, and that makes sense. But I really do hope that when the Caravan update releases, they actually have unique perks for each settlement. I am really perk brained. I'm a perk cell. I'm a really huge fan of perks, skill trees, those sorts of things in video games. I love when you do something in a settlement and you unlock some sort of weird, very specific skill or ability or something. Just giving my reputation to Bryn is really frankly not that interesting, and having perks that are like more variety of items, more better price with items, like it's fine. That's the tried and true method with games like Stalker, which I bring up all the time. To me, that's where a lot of these mechanics kind of come from. Maybe there's other games I'm not thinking of. Bryn losing its contracts is really weird, but I also think they mention here that they're overhauling the dialogue. There's going to be more side quests. It's going to be a little wackier than it is now. Listen, the more variety, the better. That's all I can say, you know. Distant Dungeons, another thing that we want to do with Rags to Riches is implement a complete progression system that provides content throughout all 30 character levels, which subsequently will allow us to stress test every mechanic before expanding the global map. As mentioned in previous devlogs, the dungeons will be split into tiers. Here is the tiers of enemies, and we're done. Okay, that's it. I think still took me about half an hour, but we'll try and get this edited up. I hope I was able to walk you through some of the new things that were announced. I definitely know that when I read these devlogs, I always filter out and miss stuff. I don't want to say because of the way they write it. It's probably just me being impatient, I guess. But stuff like Bryn losing all of its contracts, that took me like maybe 2 reads to understand. I thought what they were saying is that Bryn was losing the high tier contracts, because they said Bryn will no longer have contracts. Now Denbrie and the Rotten Willow Tavern will have contracts. So my assumption was that Bryn was just getting degraded to like tier 2 contracts or something. It says there will be side quests there, and they mentioned that bosses will be unlocked with reputation now. Interesting. I think it's too early to really say anything. Like I always nitpick no matter what. If you're watching this video, you probably already know that. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I guess I'm excited for the update, but my excitement is kind of dependent on when it's coming out, to be quite frank. Another thing I wanted to say is that in my negativity video, I mentioned quasimorph. I've gotten a comment regarding this, but I actually randomly had a friend who's playing quasimorph. Like, I think they're addicted to it, but I was in a Discord call and they were just playing it, and I was watching their screen because I had kind of a feeling from looking at some of the screenshots in the trailer. Quasimorph is like Stoneshard. Like I thought it was going to be like Stoneshard. I didn't think it was going to like be Stoneshard. There seems to obviously be differences because it's sci-fi and you have guns and all that stuff, but I'm definitely interested in giving that game a try now that I know that, because it is really weird to be like, I mean, in my head, there's not too many things like Stoneshard. Just seeing something like that, it's turn-based and everything, and it's even got the doors. Like they copied Inkstain Games homework. I might have brought this up on my stream, but people say like, oh, this is like a game maker game. Like it's all like game maker stuff, and I guess I understand the complaint. I've always hated RPG maker games for that reason. Many RPG maker games look exactly the same, especially the hentai ones, and it's just always kind of bothered me at just like kind of the aesthetic is not pleasing. My thing with Stoneshard is that even if it is a game maker game and game maker is baby mode, they've added so much with the health system, the combat, just kind of the mechanics of the game that I don't really think it matters that it's a game maker game at this point. Like if you're memeing and you're just saying that, like I don't care, whatever, it's not my game. Add a fast forward button, devs, or I'm going to quasimorph, okay? That's not a joke anymore. I'm serious this time. Anyways, catch you in the next one. Have a good day. Bye.